Hello, 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 YouTube family. Hello, 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 my podcast audience. This is Erica Janelle, and this is another episode of Relationship Talks with Erica Janelle. Of course, I have my favorite guest of all time, Miss Marina Kalendareva. We are talking about the different challenges that you face in the different types of relationships. We're going to focus a lot of our attention on interracial dating and some of the challenges that are faced with interracial dating, why people want to pursue interracial dating. Is it something because you want to explore and experience somebody different? Or is it really genuinely because that's who you have a connection with and that's who you're attracted to? So we're going to talk about the stuff that nobody talks about, which is what this podcast is all about. So I just want to open up this door to you guys. Listen, before we even get into these topics, my whole purpose for doing this show is to open up people's minds and to start the conversations that people are uncomfortable with having. And so this may not be something that everybody's going to love or everybody enjoys. And it's not about being popular for me. It's about getting the information out there and actually having the discussions and getting to a level of understanding so that we can have better relationships. So without further ado, Miss Marina, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very, very good. Thank you so much, Erica. I love you. I love your podcast. I love your topics. And thank you so much for sharing it with me so that I could, speak my mind.
Yes.
Thoughts. Hopefully it's going to reach to some people and actually, get through to them and help them in their journeys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know for me, and I'll start with my perception of interracial dating. And as a Black woman, I'm going to keep it 100. Mm-hmm. As a Black woman, oftentimes Black women are made to feel by some of, and not all of, our Black men that are interested in interracial dating, by some of our Black men to feel as if we're inferior. And that is the reason why they go outside of their race to date other women of other cultures, because they feel like, oh, well, Black women are too hard, or Black women are too difficult, or they like to argue too much, which is a stereotypical box to put a person in. So oftentimes as a Black woman, when you see interracial couples, I mean, it doesn't bother me at this point in my life because I'm grown and I'm healed, and I've come to learn and understand a little bit things a little bit differently. But initially, when I was first seeing that, probably in my teenage years, I just remember feeling like, oh well, I guess they want to date a white woman because they think a white woman is more superior or it's a better woman. Or you even hear what I would hear the guys say. And as a woman with 6 brothers, I'm pretty familiar with how guys talk. Okay. Right. I would hear them say, oh, well, Black women are going to give you a hard time, but a white woman, she's going to be more docile and give you what you want and not argue with you and not give you a hard time. And so to me, it was always a thing of them pitting Black women against other nationalities, or making Black women feel as if we weren't good enough to be in a relationship with or marry, or that we couldn't give them beautiful children. So they wanted to date outside of their race so their kids could have a certain texture of hair or a certain color of skin, which is all reverse racism in a sense. Like, you don't love yourself.
Yes.
So you feel as if everything related to your Blackness is not good enough. So you got to go ahead and get with somebody else so that you can kind of dilute your Blackness. And that's, for lack of better terms, that's how I grew up looking at it, because that was what was in my face. I literally would hear the guy say, oh, well, I don't date Black women because Black women are too difficult. That's a stereotype. So for me, growing up in that environment, I had to learn, one, that's not everybody's scenario. Some people generally didn't set out to, okay, I'm just going to go outside of my race and that's all I'm going to date. Some people literally just happen to fall in love with this person that's of a different race or a different culture. And it had nothing to do with the fact that they were that race. It was just, that's who they connected with. And that's who they fell in love with. And that's who they decided to have a family with. But it wasn't based on self-hate. And so for me, it's always that delicate balance between the two. I personally have never dated outside of my race. Not that I would not be open to it. I mean, I do have my preferences. Right. I like darker skin. That is my preference. So I would probably never date a white man. I can't say never, but it's just not somebody that I'm naturally attracted to per se. But I've never dated anybody Asian. I've never dated anybody Hispanic. I've never dated anybody Indian. It's not to say that I would not. I've just never been
the
in those
opportunity
environments.
didn't present itself.
Yeah, I've never been in those environments. And so for me, and also as a Black woman, I am a very strong Black woman who is confident and secure in my Blackness, and I'm proud of it. I wear it like a badge, even though I'm light skinned with freckles. I am probably the blackest Black person you will know. And it's in my DNA. Like, I come from a very strong family that taught us about our culture and where we come from, and to be proud of it. And so for me, I am always going to have a preference to my men, because I feel like we can relate to one another. We know each other's struggles. We know each situations. We know the battles and the things that we deal with within our culture, within our community. So it's not based out of racism for me specifically. For me specifically, it's about, I love to be with a person that I can relate to. I don't want to have to explain a Black joke.
Right.
I want to be able to have somebody that understands me, and we could be who we are. That's my preference. Will I be open to dating somebody outside of my race? I'm open to it, but it's just never been it's never happened for me. So I was always coming from that mindset of, is it because you really fell in love with this person and that's who you wanted to love? Or is it really because of self-hate? Do you really hate yourself? And you feel like the only way you can have a beautiful child is to have a child that's mixed.
Right.
It's a reality that nobody talks about. They don't say it, but it's real. It literally exists. I've heard men say it with my own 2 ears. And it's sad because you haven't done the first step, which is to learn how to love yourself and how to relate to yourself. When you are confident and secure in who you are as an individual, there's no way that you would ever say, I'm going to have to date outside of my race to breed children that look a certain way. That's the only way I can have beautiful children. That's asinine. Right. But again, they're skipping that self-love step. So that's my personal experience. But as I've grown and as I've matured and as I've developed as a woman, I've learned that that's not everybody's story. It's still going to be some people out there that have a self-hate toward their own culture, which is sad. But that's not everybody's reality for why they do, why they end up dating interracially. So what is your perspective and what is your experience? I know I hit the ground running. Oh,
hell yeah. I'm a very, I grew up in a Jewish household and we're not religious. So I'm very happy and I'm very proud to be part of my particular family, because even though having an interracial marriage is going to be like, wait, what? Because, my parents and the community will never accept it because of something that they don't know, not because they're against having a Black person or a Hispanic person in the household. It's just that people generally are scared of something that they're not familiar with. And then they have to rewire their brain because they're like, wait, but this is all we know. So in my experience, growing up in a household where my parents were always cool about everyone coming into our house who was Black or any other race or religion, everything was completely okay and normal. So it's not like we grew up with this concept that only our people are okay, because as I got into the real world, came out of my little bubble and started hanging out with people outside. I mean, I've always had interracial friends, but I never really dated. So as I got into my community when I got married, I was like, okay, well, that's something, okay, we're cool, we have our own little community, but to a certain degree, I was like, but to me, something was missing. So, I mean, maybe this is just your experience, but when I started hanging out with guys or girls who were Black, so when you touch the topic upon how Black men prefer women from other races, so my experience with that was women who are Black are dominant. You guys do not take crap from my experience, because this is just, I mean, there are some women that I came across, which I was very shocked to hear, when you have you have an opinion, but you're very egotistical about it. So you, like me and you can talk about certain topics and you're going to tell me your opinion, but you're still respectful. But I could hear why you're saying certain things, and like, you know what I mean? You're not putting me down or insulting me. But some women I came across with who are Black made me feel like I'm so, like, I don't even have the respect from the other person to acknowledge that, hey, listen, let me just explain certain things to you. And I have never, anybody who knows me, I have never thrown a racial joke or disrespect a Black person, never, because I have integrity. I may not, and I do not know 100%, because it's impossible growing up in a Jewish household. Coming from Russia, I've never seen a Black person in my life. So for me to be as open and respectful literally comes from the way my family is.
Right, how you were raised.
Right, exactly. It's not about, listen, I mean, everything is about integrity. So in my household, we have it. So when I talk to other people, I respect you. Certain times when I would come across, like I had a Black friend that I liked, we were kind of together on the side at one point, because we just been in that constant, I guess, routine. So eventually I was like, look, I can't marry you. You've never been married before. And if you want to have something on the side because we're together, fine, but I have other options. He's like, okay, fine, let's do it. But I told him straight up, because he would always say, I don't want to be with a Black woman, or Black women are beautiful and everything, but they talk like they're birds. And in my mind, I was like, that's not true, because I have Black girlfriends and they're not like that. They're actually the most educated and smart and beautiful and spiritual women I've ever met in my life. And
loving.
And loving. Right.
But I feel like a lot of times when men say that, it's that they don't want to be challenged.
They
don't
insecure.
want somebody to challenge them, and they're insecure. So rather than you be challenged, you'll blame it on the Black women. That's gonna make you accountable.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
Be accountable.
Right.
Every woman should make you accountable. You should not be with any woman that does not challenge you to be accountable.
I mean, a man shouldn't say, like, I wouldn't like if a Jewish guy is going to say Jewish women are like this and like that. That's disrespectful. So if you don't want to be with a Jewish woman, don't be with a woman with Jewish women.
But don't put Jewish women down. Don't put us in a box.
Don't exactly. If you have one bad experience or whatever. So eventually, when I was hanging out with a guy, like I said, I personally feel when it comes to interracial marriages, that eventually you're going to come to a halt, unless it's like pure love and pure everything, that eventually is going to be like, well, I'm going to miss my culture and you're going to miss yours, because I cannot imagine being with a Black man. Not that I have anything against them. I love people, period. It's not about the skin color or your religion. It's about how I feel in your presence. But if your religion and your race means a lot to you, it's going to be hard.
You're gonna have a clash because you can't relate to one another.
Right. Eventually it's gonna be like that. Exactly. So I told them, listen, when the time comes, I think you should be with somebody that's from your race, your culture, because it's the right thing to be part of, you know. And he was like, he was not with it. So actually, eventually we had like a business meeting, and I introduced him to the girl that neither one of them wanted to be together. But then, like, she would be on the phone crying, and he would give me the phone, like, I don't know what to do in the situation. And I spoke to her and I was like, listen, not everybody could have what you have. You're both young, you're both from the same race, and give it a shot. Because even if I'm a divorced woman, I'm still going to start a new relationship with my children. So eventually, I don't know what worked, what didn't. Now they're still together and they're actually very happy. So I think it comes down to experience and I guess your maturity level, and like you just understand that even if you and I have like this greatest connection, you're still better off with your own kind. Of course, historically or statistically, it does work for some people.
I can't say better off. I will say this: there's always going to be a disconnect in a sense of there are going to be things that we just won't be able to see eye to eye on.
But you have to work on it though.
Yeah, and a white person will never understand what it feels like to deal with the racism that I deal with every day when I walk into a room. into a board meeting, into a business, or when I'm on a job interview, when I'm the most qualified person in there. I mean, I just dealt with that at the company.
Yes.
And it was like, I was literally the most educated person there, had the most experience there, but made the least amount of money for any manager.
Right.
That's something that a white person will never understand.
Right.
You may understand it from the level of being a woman, but you will never understand it from being a Black woman.
Right. Because exactly. I can acknowledge it, but I'm not in that.
You can empathize, but you can't really understand from that perspective. And if you flip it back over to relationships, when you're raising, when you're dating someone that is, say for instance, I'm dating a white man, he's not going to really understand how angry I get about the fact that they're not going to choose me or treat me the same. He can feel my pain, like he can feel my frustration, but he will never understand my challenges. And so when you deal with that particular issue, that can become a challenge. Whether people want to admit it or not, I don't give a damn. I am not about being politically correct. I'm about being honest and being truthful.
No, but it's true. It's real. It's real.
There are things that they will never understand. Do I feel like you should not have an interracial relationship? Absolutely not. I have several friends that are in interracial relationships and they love one another. They have interracial children. Their children deal with a separate set of challenges that they too will never understand. You're not white enough to hang out with the white kids, but you're not Black enough to be cool enough to hang with the Black kids. There are issues that interracial children face that their parents are not necessarily always considering when they intermingle like that. There are challenges. My kids go to a school where there's a lot of interracial kids there. It's become like a thing where it's like they all kind of stick together. Like I literally will come and pick the kids up in the car router line, and I'll see the all of the interracial kids hang together. And then the Black kids are over here, and the white kids are over here, and the Spanish kids are over here. And you have some of them that intermingle, but for the most part, you see them all in one little separated. It's like they're segregated. And it's sad because, again, everybody's looking to feel like they can fit into a part of something. And when you don't feel like you can fit into a category, you're confused. Like you're trying to figure out, okay, I know I'm Black and I'm white. So who do I relate to more? Exactly. Are the white people going to accept me more? Are the Black people going to accept me more? Or do I just need to go ahead and search for interracial friends?
Exactly.
It's a challenge. It's challenges that they're going to face. And the fact that people try to pretend that the shit doesn't exist is asinine to me. It's a challenge. Do I say that it's a challenge that you can't overcome? Absolutely not. You definitely can overcome those challenges that you face with interracial dating, as well as raising interracial children.
Right, but you have to be mature about it. It is
a lot of work, and it's got to be intentional. Like relationships are hard enough. Then you add the race factor into that. It's funny. And I'm gonna keep it 100. Like there are times where I'll be having a conversation and I always say, I could never date a white man because I'm quick to say, oh, that's some white people shit.
No. There's so many people, even myself, I'd be like, yep, I agree. There's a lot of things that
we say it too. We say it to each other like, oh yeah, that's some white people shit.
Oh, 100%.
I could never date a white man because he would be so offended talking to me. Like, really?
No, or he'll acknowledge it and just be like, oh my God, you're right. Because we're not really from the white culture, because Jewish people, we have our own little bubble because of what happened during the Holocaust, right? So we're just like so they're scared if we're gonna have like interracial marriages, we're gonna lose ourselves. So they're very strong bonded. But there's times when I'm surrounded by people from outside of my culture, I understand so much more. That's why when I was growing up, having my Black girlfriends that I'm still friends with today, and I'm so grateful for them. But I'm like I always say, we don't have to get married to one another, but we can coexist and understand and accept one another for who we are. That's why I said, right, because that's important. And you cannot, no matter what anybody's going to say, and this is a message to my people, you cannot grow unless you're completely okay with it, just with your own kind. You can't. You have to understand what's going on next door to the person next to you, because there's so much this stereotypical, like the other day, I came across this article in like on a Jewish Facebook group, where a Black guy came into like this Jewish neighborhood and broke into cars and stole a lot of things from the cars. And they're like, be careful, blah, blah, blah. I hate when I see stuff like that, because I don't want them to think that that's every Black person.
Right.
It hurts me because
So
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what that Black guy was thinking to do, but you know, you go through so much. That doesn't mean Jewish people don't steal. That doesn't mean, it's just that we're not going to be talking about our people like that.
But they're also not going to say in the news article or in the newspaper, a Black man. I mean, they're not going to say a Jewish man. They're always going to say
what I'm saying.
Black.
Right.
But that's my whole thing. And it could be a person that's on drugs and he's just stealing.
And it's not everybody. It's just one person. Right.
Nobody says a white man's out here carjacking people or stealing things out of vehicles. So be careful, lock your doors. But trust me and believe me, when you look at the media, it's a Black man this and a Black man that, or you show only the Black people. I could go right here to South Baltimore and it's just as much, if not worse, crime in the white poor neighborhoods as it is in the Black poor neighborhoods. But you know what? They don't talk about it because they want to perpetuate that cycle of racism to make it seem like Black people are the only ones causing problems. Black people are the only ones committing crimes. Black people are the only ones that you should be afraid of. That's a lie.
Narrative that they're purposely making. And at the end of the day, that's why I always say, if you don't have integrity and you don't have humanity or common sense, you're going to be talking. And it's nice to meet those type of people sometimes, because you just know, dude, I don't want nothing to do with you because I genuinely can't stand it. And sometimes I say that to my own people.
Absolutely.
It's not that I don't want to be Jewish. I just don't want to talk to that type of vibration, because it's not every person. Like when I had a bad, experience with a Black person, like I had this girl, I respected her. Actually, that same girl that I was talking to when I connected them with my friend. I one time sent her a video about a Black person created a video about another Black person. And there was a white guy that they were singing, rapping how the society views both of them in society. And actually, when you watch the video, they were just singing like a factory or some, back room or whatever. They were just rapping how they're viewing each other. And like at the end of the day, they just hug it out. At the end of the song, they hugged it out. And they were like, just listen, accept who we are and call it a day, right? So she was just like, wait, do you not see that this is racism? Do you not see it? Do you not? And I was shocked, because it made me feel like, first of all, I did not say it's racist. I'm not supposed to be blamed for something that a Black person did not do a great job portraying how Black people are. I was disrespected. I'm Jewish. White people have done bad things to Jewish people. I happen to have lighter skin. I am a very responsible, respectful person when it comes to outside, and they know that. So for me to hear that made me feel like, okay, I just don't want to talk to that type of vibration, because
exactly.
See how me and you talk? Yes. I did not say I hate all Black people after this, because I was genuinely feeling like, and I said that
it was a her thing. It was her specifically.
It was her thing, because she wanted to make me feel like, I guess she had that inside her and she wanted to just let it out, but it made no sense, because I sent the same video to my other Black friends and they were like, wow, this is very nice. This is interesting, because it's not like, I understand what you guys go through, but it's not my fault, and I shouldn't pay the price for it.
It's not you. Right. And that goes back to the whole racism issue, because and this is why interracial dating is so difficult.
Yes.
Like, I've never done it, but I'm going to tell you, I can only imagine. It's really all about your perception and your perspective.
And it's going to go back and forth. And it's hard as this to be with your own kind. And now you have another person.
Because relationships are hard enough without the extra. Relationships are challenging enough. And then you add those extra layers on top of it, it makes it even more difficult. Yes. But I wanted to say something to your comment about the fact that, some people are what's the word? Sensitive about it, because they're so burnt, they're so damaged. Yes. People have damaged, and that's my whole thing. while I have personally have never experienced the interracial dating situation, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't be open to it, but I understand, I come in it with my eyes wide open.
Yes.
Understanding that there are challenges and there are situations that we would face that I would never face with a Black man. I could be 100% myself with a Black man only because he knows my culture. He knows what I've dealt with. Now, that's not even to say that, because there are some Black men that may have been raised in all white neighborhoods or could have been adopted by a white family, and he was raised white, so he doesn't understand the Black struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even with that, even with dating a person that has never been exposed to the things that I've been exposed to, we would have challenges. Of course. Because he would never be able to relate to my struggles, because he didn't grow up that way. I actually have a friend that was raised by a white family. She was adopted and she was raised by a white family. She's only dated white guys, but that's all she's been around. She went to white high school. She went to white middle school, white elementary school. All her neighbors were white. That's all she knows. So to see another person looking like her was a challenge. And
but that's so confusing too, and it's hard
so
because you're Black, but
exactly.
And our people we're different. Our hair texture, just from the hair alone.
Can you imagine what you had to deal with? Like her white parents trying to do her Black hair? Like, I don't know. Can you imagine? And then, you have the guys that want to date her because, she's exotic. She's somebody different. Yeah. So let's see what she's like. As if you're like a toy. Like, I'm just going to pick you out of a lineup of Barbie dolls. Yeah. No, you don't get to experience or what's the word? Get to play around with me because you want to know what it's like. I'm still a freaking woman at the end of the, I still have a vagina like another woman. I still have breasts. I still have ovaries, and I still have a uterus like a woman. But
your mind is different, and you're confident.
You want to experience me because you want to know what it's like to be with a Black woman. I found that white men that do approach me are white men that seem to be like enamored with the idea of being with a Black woman.
Now I listened to this guy on Instagram. I forgot his name, and he has a deep, sexy voice, and he's white, tall man. He loves Spanish and Black women, and he's like, listen, I've dated white women before, but that bullshit that they try to do, like those big lips, he's like, I hate that. Like, if you are who you are and just leave it at that, that's cool, because it's like, at the end of the day, America is always trying to portray that Black women are bad, and yet everybody's trying to be like a Black woman. Right,
they're trying to buy asses to have
Black women, right, exactly.
Injections to have our cheekbone injections to have our cheekbones. We were born this way, and we're made ugly for years.
So we also have to understand the concept of how America portrays, like how society is being portrayed purposely. That's why I always go back to how happy and blessed I am to be part of my family. Because when the first time I came to America, my aunt was talking so good about Black people. They're like, they have thick hair, their skin is thick, they're beautiful. So my image of you guys were like, wow, you're the same like us. You just have different body features, traits, different features. You're going to be in a lot of ways much smarter than us because of your life in general. You have to walk outside, and you're not me as a white woman. I could just walk out of the door and go walk outside and walk next to the policeman or whatever, and not even have a second thought about it, not even worry.
But they're going to be looking. I've experienced this recently. I went to a store. And I was getting something, I redecorated my room. And so I went to a store to pick up some things, and I noticed that the security guy just kept looking at me. And I'm like, I literally looked at him like, what are you looking at? Like, if I want to buy anything from this store, I could buy everything I want from this store.
I mean, without a body. So.
I don't think it was my body.
I'm hoping that's what it was, because
I was really literally like the only Black woman in there, and I'm assuming it was because I was Black. But why are you checking for me? Meanwhile, I've literally been in a Walmart before while the security person was looking at me, and this white woman, you could tell she was on drugs, was stuffing all kinds of shit down her pants. And I'm sitting there like, So you looking at me thinking I'm a steal, but I got
because
money.
if they're gonna say something to a white person, she's not gonna answer the same way as a black woman will. So now they feel intimidated because again, it comes back to your primitive mindset. Because I literally I'm more comfortable talking to a complete stranger who's black than a white person. Literally, that's why you always see me hanging out with people from outside of the white culture, because again, I'm not part of the white culture, but I don't feel comfortable with the white culture, even as a white woman, because I don't understand them. So if I always come up to a person and I could smell and feel like they're racist, primitive mindset, I want nothing to do with them. I do not want to give them a chance. I don't care. But talking to somebody who's black or from a different, community, Hispanic, Muslim, whatever, I'm like, I can totally relate because I already understand what they're going through to a certain extent. So when I talk to them, I'm always smiling. Like if I see a black person outside, I'm always smiling. So I'm always talking to them. Sometimes I see like a black girl and I'm walking with my cousin and this girl was like feeling uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, I love your hair. She's like, thank you. All of a sudden she just smiled because I want them to see you could see how uncomfortable they feel because of what they see while looking at us, thinking like, oh, they're probably racist. They're probably going to look down at me. And I hate the fact that you guys feel that way because unfortunately, you're still surrounded on a regular basis by those primitive people. And I always tell them, just give them a compliment for God's sakes. Like you're not being asked to give them your credit card information or whatever. Right. The bullshit they do in the elevator.
Let's be for shit.
Right. Like the elevator, when they say the white people like clutch their purse with I was like, no, they need your $3. Keep it to yourself. Like for God's sake, they don't need your shit.
We don't need your shit. But that goes back to the whole thing with dating. And that's why you face these types of challenges. Yeah. You cannot talk about interracial dating without talking about racism. You cannot talk about interracial dating without talking about how it makes people of your culture feel. Like a lot of, and I'll be honest, like I told you growing up, it was like I felt betrayed by my black men because I felt like you got all of these black women to choose from. And you feel as though none of us are good enough. So you've got to go outside of your race to find somebody else that you feel is good enough and complimentary enough to be able to be with you. When in actuality, you would dog us out and treat us like shit, but then you would love on her and basically worship the ground she walks on. And why? Is it because you're looking at her like this trophy that you finally arrived and was able to achieve? Or do you really genuinely love her? There are people that genuinely love their white or Asian or Hispanic women. But then there are also people that look at somebody else that's different as if it's like a prize because, I'm so insecure about who I am.
Insecurity.
I love myself enough. So when I can get somebody, I actually can get a woman of another race. Oh my God, I've gotten the gym. Let me just rub on this shiny doll right now. I wouldn't even want to feel that way. If a white man approached me and he was treating me that way, as if I'm like some trophy, I wouldn't even like that shit.
Would disgust you deserve me to be treated.
Yes, but not because you're idolizing me because it's something you didn't think you could achieve.
Yes.
I want you to love me because you genuinely love me. Don't worship me because I'm just something that's, it's different. It's unique. It's exotic. That's the word everybody likes to use now. It's an exotic woman. No, I want you to love me because you love me for who I am.
Right.
Genuinely, internally.
Exactly. And it all comes down to everybody is so lost and confused because of so many brainwashed concepts that were implanted in our lives. Like, generally speaking, we're all brainwashed because of the society's ways. So our generations, us, in their 30s and the 40s, and then our children, everybody's coming out of this. But I told you that you married to a black man and I'm married to a Jewish man and we're both happily divorced. And we understand that it's not about, first of all, coming out of the divorce, you understand the hypocrisy when it comes to women, period. So women are fighting for the rights, even though we started, we voted to have the rights to vote and all that, just to work and all that, right? But now we're fighting for, first of all, just to be appreciated as a woman in the society, it's a lot, especially then you're a Black woman. That's another thing, another concept that you have to overcome, because you're portrayed as a certain type, then you have to face a lot of things. And like I said, it's that concept that everybody you have to be open and rewire your brain to this, I guess, I don't know, just have a different opportunity,
different
mindset, everything. You have to allow yourself to be open to the reality aspect of life. We're all brainwashed. Like when you see white supremacy, that's because they know they get away with this shit. And then, they want us to constantly fight with one another. That's why it's hard to have a relationship, because you already know. I don't like when people say, Marina, you have your privilege. I'm like, look, I did not grow up knowing anything about it, because then it would be like a cultural thing, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I have it, which obviously in America or in the world, everybody knows that if a white person does something bad and a Black person does something bad, even if the Black person is wrong, the white person is wrong, the Black person is gonna get it.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's going to be more severe punishment.
Right. So it's nothing to do that I created it. I was born into the system that was created for us so that we can constantly fight each other, instead of realizing we still eat the food and live the life. We're still human. Yes, your bodies and your minds are different, but we're people. So if we don't come together and understand that everything is created so that while we're fighting, they're over there making their money and they're making their millions and they're doing whatever the hell they want to do, because we're over here
while we're fighting. While we're
fighting. Right. The narrative that Black people are bad and the white people are great. No, the fuck we're not. I hate that shit, because if I have to work on myself, I'm going to work on myself. If there's something that I don't like, I have to face my fears and work on that. That's why when you don't understand yourself and the society portrays you a certain way, now I have to worry about being in the Black neighborhood that I have the privilege, because at the end of the day, if you know me, I will use what I have.
You absolutely do.
Humanity, however.
You absolutely do.
Right. Thank you.
Vouch for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, it's the concept that the fact that I have that privilege, it hurts me because I shouldn't. You and me, when they say like, the American flag, you pray and what is that? The flag. Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, blah, blah, blah. And everything is, everybody's united, but we're not united.
Not at all.
Bullshit. It's all like, you pretend that we're united, but there's no justice, there's nothing. And the fact that I'm given more rights than you guys, when you shouldn't even be paying taxes, in my opinion, because you guys built America through your blood, sweat, and tears. Why are you being disrespectful? Why? Because they want you to believe that, they owe you a lot.
They want you to believe that you're superior and you're inferior.
But they owe you, because they're supposed to give you land, they're supposed to pay you or whatever it is for the things that you have done, that now we're given that privilege. But it's not, like the justice system, it's bullshit, because if a Black person, like I was reading comments the other day, and this Black girl was like, yeah, my brother happened to be just passing by and there was a crime scene. And he just happened to be there. He had nothing to do, and now he's in jail for life for something that he didn't do. And there was another woman who's Hispanic, again, for the crime that never happened. Right now, that's what I'm saying. Why? Like,
why as people of color, and it's not just Black, because
she's Hispanic. It's Black and
Hispanic people deal with a lot of racism as well. Exactly. Asian cultures deal with a lot of racism as well. It's anybody that's not white deal with so many issues of them pitting us against each other. And it's my thing is this: at the end of the day, I don't want to be I don't want to be viewed as just a Black woman. I want to be viewed as a person. Why do you have to say Black on Black crime, or a Black this and a Black? Why do we have to be set aside when you're talking about crimes on the TV or on the news? Why does it have to be a Black man came into a neighborhood and shut up a store? Nobody's talking about these white kids that are going to these schools and shooting up each other.
Exactly.
Nobody's talking about that.
Exactly.
They don't want to talk about that. They won't even give the children's names. Let it be a Black child. Go back and look at all those school shootings. Every single one of those school shootings, when the first reports were made, they didn't even tell the age or show a picture of the person. When it was a Black person, they showed the picture of the person, which is actually against the law because they're minors.
Yeah.
Don't get me started because my HR.
I'm with you 100%. I'm 100. That's what I'm saying. I hate the fact that it's portrayed that way. I hate the narrative. I hate that concept.
And we have to break free from the box that society has put us in. And I feel like this generation is way more open and way more receptive than ever before when it comes to differences. But getting back to the whole interracial dating and the challenges that they face, it's going to be a challenge. You got to be up for the challenge. If you are going to choose to date someone outside of your race, and I'm not saying that you should or you shouldn't, you date who you fucking love and who loves you and treats you right. If
you could work on your differences, because I couldn't work on the difference with my Jewish husband. We were so different.
It's hard enough with your same race, but then you're dealing with a separate set of challenges. The bottom line is you have to be willing to go through whatever challenges you've got to go through. Relationships in general are tough. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes being intentional with your efforts. When you add that extra layer of racism and society viewing you differently, people, and it's funny. I wasn't even going to say anything about this, but you know me, I keep it 100. So you can love me, hate me, not like me. I don't really give a fuck. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep it 100 because I've got to be true to who I am. I have seen many times, and it's funny, it happened recently when I was in Florida on my tour. I literally saw this Black guy and this white woman together. They were walking down the street. Me and my best friend were walking the opposite way. We're heading to a restaurant on the beach. And they were walking toward us. And it was like, she just kept staring at me, looking at me like this and grabbing him close. And I'm like, girl, if you're that insecure because I'm a Black woman, I don't want your man. I don't give a damn about your man. Okay.
That's the thing. If you love each other, to
why
me,
are you insecure?
I don't give a damn if my man looks at another woman. I'm going to be like,
you can look.
Her. She's beautiful.
Okay, guess who you're going home to? All of this.
Right. I said, exactly. I'm like, every time I was dating, even to my ex-husband, I used to say, go look at another one, go talk, go ahead. I don't give a damn. Because at the end of the day, if you truly love me, you're going to come back to me. And it's okay to talk. I have these guy friends who have girlfriends who are like, no, I don't want you to talk to any woman from the past. I'm like, that's fine. However,
as long as you're not being disrespectful and you're not flirty and you're not saying things that you would not be comfortable to say if I was sitting right there, I don't give a damn.
But also, I'm like, are you staying home all the time? It's like, no. So you're gonna go stop talking to everybody from the past. Cool. Right. But when you go out, you're gonna meet somebody in the bus. You're gonna meet somebody at your job. And if you have like a sales company, you're gonna be meeting people. Period. So she needs to understand that if you really love her, she needs to get off your ass, because that's gonna push you guys away. And at the same time, if you have integrity, and I always come back to it, if you don't have integrity, you shouldn't be in a no damn relationship. You shouldn't have friendship.
You're not healed. You're still insecure. So you've not done the work of self-love first.
Thank you.
You should not be loving anybody else until you love your damn self first and know your value.
Exactly.
And when you know your value, I'm not intimidated by any women. I don't care who you are. You could be Beyonce. I don't give a fuck.
Right? Beyonce is Beyonce, and you're Erica, and I'm Marina.
But she will never be Erica, and Erica will never be her. I am me. I am secure in who the fuck I am. And if you're not secure in who you are, especially if you're going to go through an interracial dating situation, and every time you see a Black woman pass by, you feel like you got to look her up and down or hold on to your man a little closer, you got to work through some issues, sister.
Yep, because she knows what she has.
Or brother, whatever the case may be. Or if you're that threatened, is it because he's done some things to make you feel that threatened? Or is it because it's your own internal insecurities? You're feeling threatened by another woman. I'm not threatened by any woman. I know who I am. I know the love that I give to the person that I'm with. When I love you for real. I love you hard. I sex you good. I love you good. I support you. I respect you. I
got his back. Exactly.
So if that's not good enough for you and you decide that you want to go out there and find it somewhere else, bye.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bye.
Absolutely. And I used to always say, no matter how broken I was in my relationships, I used to always say, I was very realistic, and I love that about myself because, I never, like I said, I never gave any racial bullshit. I never gave, ultimatum. I said, because like before marriage, I used to date the guy and I said, I cannot marry you because you're not Jewish, because my community is just going to eat you up alive and I'm going to be disowned. So we could date, see if that leads anywhere, because I've never dated just for dating. I've dated if I could be with forever, with intention. Exactly. So in my experience, because of who I am, and as I was growing up, I was like, oh my God, I had no idea how I was thinking while still not even loving myself. I would still give a guy the option and opportunity to be with me. But when you're ready to move on, please let me know so that I could have my closure. And none of them gave me the closure. None of them gave me respect. Everybody just like ghosted me or disrespected me. I was like, I'm not even holding you back. So then I realized, why don't I just work on myself? Because I have to understand why this shit happens in the first place. I used to tell my mother-in-law, I used to say, if your son comes to me and says, Marina, I'm not happy with you, I love someone else, it just happened, I'm like, okay, cool, let's talk about it. Because that to me is what I call integrity and basic common sense.
Absolutely.
Because I always used to say, she's like, don't say that. I'm like, listen, I don't know what's written on my forehead and I don't know what's written on his. So if everybody's a stepping stone to one another. So if I'm in a relationship with somebody and we're not happy tomorrow, let's figure out and maybe just either stay friends or not be friends at all because of whatever. Because I feel like everybody has to understand that as difficult as life is, we still need somebody else in our life for some type of support. Even if you're not in my life, I would have to know that, you're walking away, because I have to move on respectfully as well. That's one of the basic things that I've learned in relationships, that when I would tell them, if it's not going to work out, let's go our separate ways respectfully. And that's important not, to have, because like you were talking about right now, when you said that, interracial marriage, that girl looked at, at you and she was clutching onto her man. If you don't have that basic common respect to one another, that communication is so important, then you're just in it for
you're doomed.
You're in it for something other than pure connection. Because like I said, when I talk to a person, people may not understand, and I'll probably have to make like either a public announcement, we're together because of like the vibration that we are on. I don't know how you look, like the way you look is nothing. If I'm attracted to you and you're attracted to me, that's amazing. But it's having that communication and having that vibration that you're on the same page. And I don't have to sit here and explain myself to you when it comes to integrity and respect, because I don't want to be in a relationship anymore where I have to teach him respect, integrity, understanding, common, basic common, because to me it comes natural. Because like I said, when I was broken, I still showed them respect. How did I know that? Nobody taught me. It's because I grew up like that. I just have integrity, period. And I give you
who you are.
Exactly. I give you the respect that you don't even deserve, but because I respect myself to a certain degree, I'm giving you that opportunity. Like I said, I would tell my ex-husband, if you're not happy, walk away. The guy walked away and never spoke to me again. And but we still have kids, so we kind of went back to back. I'm like so immature. And everybody I was dating was so immature vibrationally. I was exhausted from explaining it.
Literally, people are too afraid to be real and to be authentically who the fuck they are.
Exactly.
See, I'm very good at, and I just, I told you about my situation before. I'm not going to talk about it.
Yes.
But I am very real. When what you see is what you get with me. There is no walls up, no fake masks up. I don't do that shit. I call bullshit on that. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. I'm going to show you my good, my bad, my ugly, my feisty, my sweet, my loving, my kind, my gentle. I'm going to show you all the sides of me, and you choose if that's what you want. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to change who I am to suit anybody. Either you're going to love me or you're going to not love me. I don't care. Either way, the tribe that God has for me is the tribe that God has for me. I'm not going to change to be accepted by somebody that does not necessarily see me as their future. If you don't see me as your future, oh, well, there's somebody out there for me. I'm not going to settle, and I'm not going to change who I am to be accepted by other people.
It
And the
happens
bottom
in the beginning though, and then we just grow into like this reality where we're like, when you have self-love,
right, exactly, because we did the work. But
Yeah.
that's the point. People don't do the work. So you and your broken self comes over here, and you meet this man and his broken self, and then you two broken people come together, and you wonder why your relationship is not working, because nobody's taking the time to heal. Nobody's taking the time to get to know themselves. Yes, take the time to get to know yourself. Know that and I have to say this, it's in my spirit, and I feel like I have to say it. When you truly, truly, truly love yourself, you are perfectly fine by yourself. You know that you have reached that place of self-love when you don't need another person to validate you.
Yes.
If you're still in a place where you need somebody else to validate you, you are not healed yet.
Yes.
You still have work to do. When you are at a place of healing and wholeness, you are perfectly fine by yourself, but you can still recognize that you're better together as a team than you are as an individual. But when you're whole, you are perfectly fine. I am perfectly fine being by myself, but I know I'm wise enough to know that I can be so much better with a partner that's on the same page as me, that's going to love me like they are supposed to love me. And we both are going to do our part to help change the world together. When we both can reach that same place of self-love as individuals, and then we come together, we are a dynamic duo.
But can work, you could be broken, but you could still grow together. But I've met the same people. Remember the couple I was talking about, and I don't hate them. I just don't have any respect for those type of people because of, it's not the skin color. It just so happened to be that, oh my God, like it just so happened that broken or not, you have to have like, get rid of your ego, because you could love yourself, but that person they both had so much ego. And I was like, wait, what? I love myself, but I don't have ego. Yeah, I will literally, if you drop something, I'll pick it up for you. As a white woman, I don't give a shit. I love people. I respect. If you need help, I'll be there for you. And I'll be there for you. Clean your kitchen or whatever it is. Talk to your man because you have a bad relationship. You could trust me 100%. Absolutely. You know how I am. I don't have it in my mind. I don't have that. I don't backstab people. I just me neither. Respect, right? And this is exactly why you and I clicked. It's not, we're both two different cultures, two different lives, two different. But we're like this, exactly. And we don't know each other. We never met each other. We didn't grow up together. But you see how the concept of minds work? I respect and understand where you come from. So and I respect and understand where you come from, and we come together. Exactly. But we did work on our wholeness. And I'm just telling you, two broken people coming together, yes, it can work, but oh my God, it's gonna be so much harder. If you and I met when we were broken, we'd still be like this. We'd still just keep growing because of the way that we are in general. Because when we were married, we were broken, but we gave 100%. We don't know how to give 99%. So it doesn't matter where we both come from. We give 100%. Like all the relationships I was part of, I gave 100%. Even though I was broken, and even though I didn't have that, basic, hey, how can I be better? How can I be perfect? How can I try my best, or whatever the case is? At the end of the day, I gave my all. So I have respect, and I gave respect, and that's what it all comes down to. Ego, fear, that concept where, I have that woman, I was like, oh, I deserve the best because, or don't compare your page 1 to my page 20. Why would you even talk about stuff like that? I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm comparing myself to me from the person that I was yesterday. Back then, when women compare each other or couples compare, because when they started dating, they were putting me down because I was in a going through a divorce. Don't do that shit. Don't put somebody else down to make yourself feel good, because that's stupid. But very stupid. That's still a literal sign of insecurity. You're not secure in who you are, because if you're secure in who you are, you're not taking the time to care about what anybody else is doing. You're focused on your own growth and your own, growing and spirituality for yourself. But my thing is this, we all have challenges. None of us are perfect. Yep. None of us have done everything right. It took us time to get to this place. It took us effort to get to this place. It took us being intentional to heal and to become whole and to love ourselves.
And it was a lot. And it was, I look at my life and all the things that I've gone through, you know, with my ex-husbands, and all the things that I've gone through my childhood, and all of the disappointments and all of the challenges that I faced. Healing was something that I chose to do. I could have chosen to stay broken, and I could have chosen to still exist in that way, but I would not have the higher level of life that I am now experiencing, because I choose to heal, and I choose to still love. I don't choose to make other men pay for what people have done to me in my past. You get to build your own house with me. If you choose to tear that fucking house down in the midst of us relating to one another, that's your choice. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, you have to you have to hang your, I was telling one of my good girlfriends yesterday, I'm going to give you the rope to hang your damn self. I'm not going to hang you. You're going to hang your damn self. Mm-hmm. You get a clean slate with me until you show me something different than what you've told me. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, when you show me something different, I'm going to deal with you accordingly. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, we could have chosen to be angry, bitter, upset women because of what we experienced, but we chose to still love. Exactly. We chose to still be loving. Exactly. We chose to still want love, and to still desire it, and to still, you know, ask God for it, and ask God to prepare us for it. We still chose that. I will tell you all day long. People literally ask me all the time, why in the world would you want to get married again? And I'm like, because marriage was not the problem. It was who I was married to. It was the brokenness of where I was at that time in my life that was the problem. It's not marriage. Marriage is not the problem. Marriage is an institution created by God. Everybody doesn't believe in it, but it is. It is what a TI is. Whether your liberalities are telling you that marriage is not necessary, that's your choice. But what I am telling you is, I choose to believe that the Bible is my foundation as a Christian. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that marriage is an institution created by God. He created us for union. We weren't created to just be alone. As a matter of fact, he said it's not good for man to be alone. Then he created woman. So my thing is, and that's from my culture. That's from what I believe. That's my heart. It's 100%. Not everybody. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But, and I'm speaking my truth. But what I'm saying is, marriage is not the issue. Interracial, same race, same sex, that's not the issue. It's the fact of who you're choosing to marry. Have you done the work to heal? Have you done the things that are necessary to be the best version of yourself when you come together with another person, so that you're no longer competing or having fights with each other? You're working together as a team so that you can become that one unit. You have to be open. That's what relationships are about. Absolutely. It's about becoming one and getting on the same page. I'm not your enemy. I'm not your competition. I am your partner. Yes. I am your friend. I am the person that's going to be strong where you're weak. And I'm going to build you up when you're feeling weak. And you're going to build me up when I'm feeling weak. And we're going to have each other's back. That's what it should be like that. Absolutely. It should be like, even and if I will settle for nothing less. Absolutely. Even like I said, you have to, we were all raised in the broken, I mean, it wasn't broken, but it was specifically designed for us to constantly be on the struggle mode, because it's convenient for the society to keep us like that, so that we're not concentrating on the real thing. Because if we are, that means we're going within, that means we're becoming more vibrationally higher, more spiritual, and things will come to us even more. So then the stupid things that's constantly being taught to us, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? Because you know how much money they're making from BLM, from white supremacy? They're making billions off of that. And people are paying the price for what? So when you don't even have time for yourself, can you imagine why would you even have because if I have a partner in my life, the way that I am right now, we're going to move mountains in our sleep. Me and he can move mountains in our sleeps, because of we're not physically together, but we're on the same page. And we came to that realization because had I still been broken by our community society, a woman has to be at home, she has to cater to the husband. If I was still manipulated by the culture, by the community, not that I have anything against them, I would right away try my best to go get married to another Jewish guy. Fuck, I don't want to have anything to do with no damn Jewish guy. I have nothing against them. But I know for a fact, if you're not on the same page, you don't have that bullshit personality or that, you know, that
clap back or like
what you stand up for what you believe in.
Yes,
personally.
because I don't have that time, because there's so many Jewish guys that are trying to talk to me. And again, all my respect, but you're not ready to be with somebody like me, because I'm gonna call you out on all your bullshit.
Bullshit.
Right. And one of the guys was like, let me just check his profile. The guy is like, I'm gonna buy you diamonds and flowers. You know, he has like a post, but once we get married, you're gonna be folding my clothes. I'm sorry.
That part.
Fuck out of here.
Fold your own fucking clothes.
That's so primitive and disrespectful. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Don't get it twisted. I am very, very domestic. Like, because
yes, me too. Me too.
I like things to be neat, and I don't mind serving my husband, but you better understand that is not my motherfucking job.
Nope.
If I'm out here getting this money, like you're out here getting this money and I'm grinding, I have 4 businesses and working full time, and you think that I'm gonna come home and fold your clothes and do all
even
that
if you're not working, why the fuck do you have to do all the shit? I want my diamonds and flowers.
Respect me as an individual. If I want to do that, it's nothing wrong with a woman that wants to be at home serving her husband and taking care of the kids. If that's what you want to do. But let's be clear, don't try to make that as a mandatory thing. Yeah. I'm going to take care of my home because I choose to take care of my home. And if it's something that I can't do or I don't have time to do, I will fucking pay somebody. I will pay a housekeeper. Pay somebody to cook.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry for the friend.
And I don't have time to do everything. I'm one person. But let's be clear about some shit. You're not going to make it mandatory that I do anything. The roles that we play in a household should be shared roles.
Absolutely.
Especially if I'm out here getting money, like you're out here getting money, you better not even fix your lips to tell me what I'm going to fucking do.
Exactly. And that'll
be a very short-term relationship.
That concept is so disrespectful.
It's about partnership. You would never, I will never tolerate a man that tries to make me feel as though I am less than, and I'm not smart enough to do anything but take care of the home. Boy, sit down.
Yeah.
Because I'm smarter than you. 9 times out of 10.
And they're gonna start saying, oh my God, you're hanging out too much with, girls outside of your race and guys with black. Yeah. And I'm like, first of all,
because you're hanging with black women.
If you don't respect yourself in general, I used to tell my husband, I used to say, why can't you come home and also help me with the chores so that we could spend time together? Why does it have to be, I stay at home with the kids, I take care of everything, you come home and then I have to cater to you, and by the time it's nighttime, I'm exhausted. I'm just like, what the, like, I don't understand. And that whole concept, that primitive thing, because we have leaders in our community, they still say, women should not stand up together and create this feminist culture or whatever.
It's fear. Society is afraid that if you find your voice and you find who you truly are and the power that you truly possess, you're going to change things. And because you're going to bring about change, people like tradition. They want to stay, they want you to stay stuck in that broken.
Because men are in control.
Mind control. It's like you want to stay in the Stone Age mentality, because the minute somebody awakens and they're aware of the fact that they don't have to fit in this box is the minute that you will begin to understand that you deserve more and you can be more. And then they're threatened by that. So that's why they try to suppress you and oppress you, because they don't want you to come to the understanding of who the fuck you really are. That happens in Black society. That happens with women. That happens with people of color, period. Women, period. It's things that society tries to suppress and tries to not let you see reality for who you are, because the minute you open your eyes, there's shit you're not going to tolerate.
Exactly. But you see how what you just said, in every culture and in our society, men are in control. And even my aunt, and I love her, I love the way she thinks. She always says, our leaders in our community are old white men. It doesn't matter if you're old whatever man, you're men. So you're teaching young society, young culture, what you in your primitive old school mentality have grew up seeing and doing. So when we women get together, that's why I hate when another woman hates another woman or disrespects. I'm like, bitch, you want my man? Take it. Because if my man don't want to be with me, go live your best life. Because maybe I don't give a shit. Women gotta stick together, period. I literally I will walk you down the aisle, because the concept of life is not about which dick you're fucking. It's about who first of all, we gotta come together as women in general, because we as Jewish women, we have way more culture and way more opportunities within our culture than Muslim women or women from
Israel, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. The oppression.
It's horrible. The way they have to dress up and cover themselves.
Cover themselves. The only thing you can see is their eyes.
It's horrible.
It's terrible. And it's like, where did this chaos, this archaic mentality come from?
Men.
It's not even, and I get that there are religions that say, they'll say like, oh, in the Old Testament, there's this, women are to cover themselves and blah, blah, blah. You're still caught up in the letter of the law, and you are not tapping into the spirit behind why it was said the way that it was said, and things have changed. You have to evolve. I'm not saying that you don't hold on to your foundations, but you have to be willing to evolve. How much sense? Why would I want to be a woman that has to do that? Why would I even sign up for that shit? Exactly. I would be on the first thing smoking. If I was born in that culture, trust me, the minute I turned 18, I would be finding my way to get beat.
But you can't though. In America, there's more opportunity, but in their countries, it's not. So you have no money. Right. You have no money, no opportunity to go anywhere. And like, I remember there was a guy on TikTok, he was just saying like, listen, in Pakistan, and I don't know if it's 100% true, but like women kill themselves every 7 or 10 minutes because they have to get married early. They have to put up with the husband's abuse, family's abuse. And then why would I change myself because you don't know how to look at a woman? I grew up with guys.
Control your lust. I have to cover up except for my eyes.
Exactly. And I grew up with guys my whole life, not because I love men and I'm sleeping with them. It's because I'm a tomboy. It's been like that. It's a choice. Like when I meet you, I vibe on your vibrations. We're friends. If I'm not, we're eventually going to fall apart. So when I have to, even in our community, if I see my hair, like it's not all that, but if I put a wig on, I'm going to look drop dead gorgeous because it's going to be thick, full head of hair. So I'm saying, I always say, you're telling me that if my natural hair turns you on, the wig that I'm going to put on will not, because I'm going to look way better. Even if I'm going to look covered up, I'm going to look so classy and so sexy. It's still going to turn you on. What it comes down to, like you said, is spirituality. Your fear has to go, because if you know who you are as a person, growing up with men, they never touched me or disrespected me because they were sleeping around and they were living their life. It's the men that cannot have that. They're suppressed also, and they're also confused and lost on how a man's supposed to be in general. That's how everything starts. So the society has to change, because we all have to get together and we all have to work together generally, and forget about that suppression that's put on us purposely so that we do not open up spiritually.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I mean, this is such a vast topic. So there's definitely going to be multiple parts to this. We're going to bring in Allie and we're going to talk some more about this stuff. But I'm so excited. I love you. I can't even describe it.
Me too, baby girl. Me too.
We are truly so blessed to be able to see and vibrate at a higher level than so many people in society. Because I feel like we are blessed in ways where we can understand and recognize people's differences, and it's not an issue for us. We see our differences, but we also see our similarity. When I look at you, I don't see a Russian white woman. I see my friend. I see my sister. I see someone that I love, like, from the time I met you, and we haven't even known each other that long, but the connection that you and I have, it's like you are a part of me.
Right. Exactly.
And that's how we connected. And I love and I appreciate that. And I want us to be able to get to that place in reality where we can recognize each other's differences and recognize each other's strengths and recognize each other's weaknesses and stop fighting against each other and learn to get back to the basis of loving one another. Like I said, interracial dating is not an easy task. Can it be successful? Absolutely. I have several friends that are successfully married to people of different races and they love one another.
Yeah.
For us, I understand the challenges that come with it. There's a lot of mentalities and things that I had to change when I viewed interracial couples because of what I heard and what I was exposed to. But that's not everybody's story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't put relationships in that box. But I do understand that there are challenges and there are some people that have the wrong motives. Like you've even told me there are guys that dated you because you were white.
Yes.
Not because they wanted to love you and wanted to treat you differently. They still ended up dogging you out and treating you like shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so at the end of the day, it's about the character of a person and it's about your intentions and why you're doing what you're doing, not because it's about, you know, the color of your skin. The color of your skin shouldn't matter. It's who I fell in love with. If I fall in love with you and you happen to be an Asian man, then you're my Asian baby. You're my Asian babe.
I know, right? I know, right? It's so cute.
If I happen to fall in love with you and you're, you know, of Hispanic culture, you're my Hispanic babe. It doesn't matter. You love me, you value me, you cherish me, you nourish me, you respect me, you treat me like a queen. You're the man that I want to be with. It doesn't matter your color, but I am not oblivious to the fact that there are going to be challenges that you're going to face dealing with interracial couples. It just is what it is because society is society. And no matter how much we try to change the way people think, people are still going to be who the fuck they are. And it's easier for you to accept that people are who they are and learn how to navigate your own path outside of their expectations than it is to try to get people to understand or embrace your differences. It's not for them. It's your relationship. So live out your relationship for you and do it based on your rules and not on what other people think of you or what they think you should be doing. Fuck them. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Exactly.
Yours is not special.
Exactly.
My relationship is going to be run the way I want to run my relationship. You know, I tell you all the time, people don't necessarily agree with the person that I'm in love with, and I don't really give a damn because you ain't got to be with him.
Exactly.
I love him. He loves me. Mm-hmm. We love each other. Our situation is our situation. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not, you know, we're not official or anything yet, but I will tell you, I adore that man.
I'm rooting for you guys. I told you.
I adore him. And I believe he adores me as well. Mm-hmm. It's not what anybody else, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Because you don't have to be with them. I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to work out my own relationship the way I choose to work out my own relationship. And you work out your relationship the way you choose to work out your relationship. It's not about being accepted by everybody else. It's about you two. This is a you and them thing. Mm-hmm. And until couples get to that place, until you get to the place where you no longer give a fuck about people accepting your relationship, then you're not going to ever reach that full potential of being whole.
Absolutely.
You're never going to, because you're going to be still caught up in what people think. Who gives a damn? So what? They don't have to agree with it. They don't have to like it. It's not for them. This is our situation. This is our relationship.
Be happy. Exactly.
Be happy. I love you so much, my sister. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to be coming back with like probably a part 2, part 3. We're going to be touching on all different types of topics. We're going to talk about the challenges that people face in same-sex relationships. I'm waiting to get my boo's sister and her wife on my podcast. I really, really, really want to get them on. I think he said they're out of the country. I need to see if they're back. I will be bringing them on the show because I want to talk about the challenges that same-sex relationships face, because it is relationships. And I am not well-versed in that. You know, I want to know, I want the people to understand the struggle that they deal with. But within that same vein, I want our same-sex couples to understand it's not about trying to get acceptance from everybody else in the world. It's about you working out your relationship and you standing firm in what you two want with each other. Fuck what everybody else thinks. Everybody's not gonna love it.
And they won't. They don't have to.
And they don't
eventually
have to.
They're gonna be like, hey, you know, they're gonna be curious. How are you doing it? How, you know, what's going on? Because if it's not for people like us who stand our ground, then the world will never change. And unfortunately, we're going to take the hit, but we got to stick with our own circles because we're going to be loved and accepted there and grow from, because everybody else, like, you know, it's fear. They don't know what they don't know. And they will always try to prevent everything, you know, just so that they could avoid any kind of struggles.
Yes. Sorry.
It's okay, baby.
But yes, I am so excited. I cannot wait to talk with his sister and her wife. I'm so excited. I know the wife is Jewish, and I want to say his sister converted to Judaism. I want to say she did. So I'm curious. I want to talk about all of that.
I'm curious too.
But I may have you on so we can kind of interview them together, because I'm so excited to talk about their struggles and their challenges and the things that they want to talk about. I can't wait, because it's so interesting, and I'm always here to soak up knowledge and learn.
Yes.
I don't ever profess to be well versed in everything, but I can't wait to hear from them and kind of deal with some of the challenges that they're facing, and even just how that worked within the Judaism culture. Like, did you get shunned?
But yeah,
I mean, I'm sure she got shunned for being gay, and then probably twice shunned for dating a Black woman. Like, I'm curious to know how that went. So
exactly.
That's super, super interesting. I can't wait to have that podcast, but I will definitely bring you on with that, because I feel like we both have so much questions.
A lot. I'm ready.
Yeah, and you can relate from the Jewish part, and I'm just like soaking up all the information, because it's something that people are dealing with every day, and we want our listeners to understand that we feel your pain, but we also understand that everybody's not going to understand your story or accept you. So you just got to learn to be able to walk in your path and be true to who the fuck you are, no matter whether people like you.
God doesn't judge. Everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Everybody else has an opinion, but you know what I say about people with opinions.
Exactly.
So yes, I love you, sister. We will be getting back with another special guest later on this afternoon, guys. So we'll be posting probably two videos this week, because I know you're going to put this on your channel as well. We're going to post 2 videos on both of our channels. Her channel is HowIGODHere, GOD and my channel, of course, is for YouTube is Erica Janelle Life Coaching, but this is also for the podcast. So it's Relationship Talks with Erica Janelle on my podcast, all podcast platforms. So I can't wait to share this with you guys. I love you guys very much. Marina, we'll be getting back together this afternoon.
Yes.
Love you, girl.
Thank you so much for having me, girl.
Thank you for having me. Always love you.
Me too.
All right, honey. Bye.
Bye.